All right.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Your formal post-hit record welcome. My name is Jessica Knock. I am a librarian with Library Development Services at Yellowhead Regional Library. And with me today is Laura Peters, who is a library technician in Library Development Services. We are delivering this two-part welcome to YRL series for those of you who are new or for those of you who just want a refresher. Normally, we would see you all in person, as I was mentioning in the chat, in our pre-session chat, that we like to get out and visit you and do a lot of this one-on-one in person, but COVID is prohibiting us from doing this. So this is the next best thing. So for those of you who are able to make the time today, welcome. We understand that you are busy and that you're likely doing 50 other things right now. So this session is being recorded, so feel free to sort of move in and out as needed. I'm just going to keep talking, and this recording will be available, as will Laura and I, just to ask questions one-on-one from here on in, for sure. So today in part one is sort of an introduction to YRL and YRL services. So welcome and introductions. So we've kind of done a lot of that already. We've got Alicia from Swan Hills, Anita from Eleanor Hall, Danica from Danica or Danica. Did we hear where you were from? And Wendy from, I know I should know this.
Wendy is from RF Staples Secondary School.
I was going to say, this is Wetaskiwin, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so welcome. I want to tell you a little bit about YRL. For those of you who've been around in the system a bit, you can kind of sit back and half listen if you like. But for those of you who are new, it's nice to know a little bit about where you kind of sit in the bigger picture. And then I want to tell you a little bit about the department that Laura and I, and also our colleague Jen, who's in on this meeting too as a panelist today, work for. We are your primary contacts for YRL. So I want to tell you a little bit about us. And then we want to get into the nitty-gritty of today. Oh, Danica from Onaway, thank you. So we want to talk to you about curriculum support, programming kits, e-resources, the workshops and webinars, and just kind of a mishmash of kind of training and connections that we have available for you. And then finally, consulting services. So we probably won't be here for a full hour. We're going to be pretty casual today. Please don't even worry about using the Q&A. There's so few of us, just chat away. I have my chat open right here, so I can try and answer questions as they come up. No problem. We've also put a few links in the chat. Laura, we've popped them in at the beginning, and then as I mention them, Laura's going to add them again. And they're links just to some of the things that I'm going to demo today, or some of the things that I'm talking about, just for further information for you. If you don't follow the links, it's not going to, be a detriment to your participation in this workshop in any way, shape, or form. Tomorrow is going to be the biggie. I call it the biggie because it's like the meat and potatoes of the work that we do, and that's the collection development piece, and it will be led by Laura. So we invite you to come back again tomorrow, because it's going to be completely different information in terms of how your allotment works, the tools that we use to purchase materials for YRL, and how that whole sort of process works, and how we can support you in the whole collection development piece of it. If you can't make it tomorrow, again, it's all good. We're recording it for you to watch, but we're also available to coach you through it one-on-one. We just want to have a multitude of ways to reach out to you, and this is just one of them. So definitely reach out. So this is today. So really quick about YRL. If you're brand new to the school or to Yellowhead Regional Library, we're located in Spruce Grove. Laura's actually in Spruce Grove today. She's in our office space. I'm at home in Edmonton. I'm working from home today. But our offices are headquartered in Spruce Grove, and we serve 40 odd libraries and 40 odd school libraries in East Central, oh gosh, I was going to say East Central Saskatchewan. I have Sask on my mind. East Central Alberta. So as far east as Jasper, and actually as far north as Swan Hills, up at the Swan Hills School. So about 11,000 students in our area that we serve. Not every school is a member of YRL. Your school division has chosen to become a member of Yellowhead because they value the resources and the services that we provide to you. So as part of the membership that they pay to us, all of these services that we're going to be talking about today and tomorrow, with the exception of purchasing the books, which we'll talk about how all that works tomorrow, like the actual payment of the books is for you free because it has been paid for by the school. Within YRL, there's 3 departments that are there to serve you. Library Development Services, of course, that's our department. And your primary contact, and we'll talk a little bit more about what we offer in just a moment. We have technology services. They do a lot of work for the public libraries, setting up the SuperNet that goes in the computers. The integrated library system that we use for the public libraries is a huge part of their work, but they also do support schools by offering purchasing support for any technology that you need, etc. And then collection and resource management, which is the department that actually does all of the purchasing and circulation of books. I apologize if you can hear my dog barking. I can't mute my mic, and there probably is a mailman here. Is it pretty? Should I close my door, Laura?
I imagine it's going to stop pretty quickly.
I'm so sorry. This is the perils of working from home, unfortunately. Is my yappy dog. They're the ones who take care of all of the purchasing of the books, although we will help you with the selection. They'll do the purchasing and then the whole circulation piece of it, getting the books and the materials to and from your libraries is collection and resource management. And I do want to point out under collection resource management is the regular van pickups and deliveries. So this is, if you can put that link for van pickups, Laura.
Absolutely.
I'm going to bring it up here. This is for those of you who are brand new. Laura's putting up the links for our van delivery schedule. So we try and get out to the schools at least once a month for deliveries. But we'll also, just sort of depending on the delivery dates and where in our region you're located, we can sometimes schedule 1 or 2 others because there are public libraries that we would visit in your area on a very regular basis. So we have a schedule, but we would also encourage you to give us a call when you need things picked up from your school or delivered to your school as well, because we can have a look at the calendar and see what is available or what we can arrange. Pickups are often in relation to books that you want us to process. And we'll be talking about what processing means tomorrow. But these are books that you may have picked up at Costco or when you hopped into the city and used up a Chapters gift card and you're not sure how to get them ready with in the catalog with the mark record and with the spine label and the barcode, etc. We'll pick all of those up and do all of that work for you. So that's why I just wanted to just point that out a little separately. The other thing I want to mention here is that we use acronyms so much at YRL. And again, if you're new, like I was just a few years ago, getting to know the acronyms for all of the libraries can be a little bit tricky. Fortunately, when you're a school library, there's not a lot of interaction that you would do with other school libraries. And so you don't have to feel forced to memorize them all. However, there is an acronym that's been assigned to your school. If you don't know what it is, maybe pop that into the chat and Laura can look it up for you. If you're super keen and want to have a full list of acronyms, there is a list of school libraries on our website. I'm not sure if I gave you that link or not, Laura, to post, but it is available on our website. So you can see all of the acronyms. So yeah, just wanted to point that out because acronyms can be super frustrating when you first start in a new position. All right. So just a little bit more about library development services. That's our department. It's myself as the manager, Jen Laskowski, who is here as a participant today. This is her first school onboarding, so she wanted to learn about what we talked to you about. and Laura. And so we're a mighty department of 3. And of course, we have 20 other colleagues in other departments throughout YRL that support us. Our primary role is to provide consulting to you on a wide variety of library functions. You name it, we'll likely figure it out. But the primary questions we get, especially from school, are consultation support for collections, both in terms of how do I get them in my library and on my shelf, and then how do I get them out of here? Right, so the whole reading piece. Programming. So some school library staff want a little bit of extra support with programming that they can, library related programming or Makerspace programming that they can offer in their libraries or in classrooms. So we offer consulting on that. And not so much in the school library area, but for sure in the public library area, lots of consulting on customer service. So all of the, the policies and customer management type things that happen in libraries are things that we do a lot of consulting on. I would say though that by and large, our school work revolves around collections. Would you agree, Laura?
I would agree.
Yeah. So that said, we're here to answer any questions that you might have about library related functions. We've all had experience working in public and in my case, academic as well, library. So we've worked the front lines. We've worked with many different integrated library systems. We've worked with lots of different policies. We've worked with lots of different, not directly in schools, but we worked with lots of different schools. So we have experience working in a variety of different functions within libraries. So as your main point of contact, of course, folks are always welcome to email us directly, but ideally they'll email our askyrl@yrl.ab.ca email. That is our general inbox for Yellowhead, and it comes right to our department because they are primarily questions from our school and our public libraries. And so that is the best way to get in touch with us because that email address is always being observed. For those of you who have been around a bit, you'll also remember an email called schoolq@yrl.ab.ca. We're slowly transitioning folks away from using that email, but it's not going anywhere. So if it's in your inbox and you're used to using it, we do monitor that one every day as well. We're just slowly trying to move everything into AskYRL so that we can better manage sort of the workload that comes with the consultation requests that we get. And so that's the one that we would prefer you use, but if you don't, the other one's not going anywhere, that's for sure. Before I hop on, are there any questions about or for Laura, Jen, or myself with regards to LDS? And I'll talk more about examples of consulting that we do later on in today's talk. So, and like I said at the beginning, just pop your questions right in the chat. I've got it right here. I'll answer it on the spot, no problem. Okay, so we're going to dive into some of the key resources that we offer for schools. And again, this isn't a comprehensive list because lots of what we do is on demand or people have really special needs and we figure it out. But these are the primary services that we offer. And the first one is curriculum support. So we know that many school libraries are underfunded in terms of their collections, and they don't always have a full and robust collection that can support the school's curricular needs. We also know that lots of school libraries do have partnerships with their public libraries in the same town. We really encourage that, and I have a good example of that coming up later in the presentation. But at the same time, sometimes you just need some support to get some really specific or esoteric materials into your library. And that's where curriculum support comes in. And so what this is you as the school library staff or a teacher says, oh my gosh, I need books on 5th century Byzantium pottery or whatever. I don't know, I just made that up, but whatever. What we will do then is search throughout all of TRAC, Laura, I forgot to mention track in the YRL introduction.
All right, note to self.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what track is in just a minute, but I'll finish this spiel first. We search all of track in order to find materials that are age appropriate and on topic, and we send them directly to your school. We have cards, like library cards for each of your schools, so that's how we sign them out to you. We arrange for delivery. And we offer you extended loan periods. So you can borrow up to 20 titles for up to 9 weeks. So it really allows for the library to be able to distribute the materials for the kids to use them for the projects that they're working on, and then get them back without having to incur any overdue fines. Along the way, we pop in lots of reminders and make sure you know when the delivery van is coming, so that everything is fairly streamlined in terms of getting the books gathered up and returned back to us. It's a pretty slick operation. The curriculum support requests can come in to us on the 20 titles per school or per teacher request. Oh, I haven't had such a big request in so long. I would say per teacher per request. Yeah. So, 20 titles on bugs and 20 titles on ancient Egyptian pottery, and so hopefully that answers your question.
Sometimes it is just a specific titles as well.
Yeah.
Like there's maybe a teacher that has requested 5 very specific titles that they're looking for, and we can do that as well.
Yeah. So the books are topics on themes, as I mentioned. The multiple copies for a small group novel study, as Laura mentioned, we'll do up to 5. It's really tricky for us. To source more than that. A, we often can't find it, and B, we're borrowing from our libraries within track, and we would be clearing out every single copy of that particular title for all of track. And then any high interest books for leisure reading. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I need some books that might be of interest for grade 8 boys, we can do some searching and send you titles on that. So I do want to cover what track means, and I do apologize for not mentioning it in my opening spiel. Track is an acronym that stood for something at one time, but it's basically the shared library catalog between Yellowhead Regional Library System, Marigold Regional Library System, which is south of us and just north of Calgary, Peace Library System, so the whole northeastern part of the province, and the Northern Lights, which is northwestern part of the province for Peace, and Northern Lights is the east. I'm getting my east and west mixed up. Grand Prairie and Lloydminster, right. East and west part of the province. So what that basically amounts to is with your curriculum support requests, you have access to millions and millions of titles from hundreds and hundreds of libraries, big and small, right across primarily northern Alberta. So when you are a member of Yellowhead Regional Library, you do have access to the library catalogs of far, far more than just the Yellowhead region. So hopefully that covers what track stands for. Track was called the Regional Automated Consortium. Like I said, it's an acronym that's kind of lost its meaning over the years, and it's just known as track now. So that's curriculum support. The next piece that we offer, this is a big part of our work that we do for public libraries, and we offer this to school libraries as well, and that is access to our programming kits. We have dozens of kits on a wide variety of topics, and in fact, I'm going to, I'll do that in a minute. If you could pop the link in for them, that would be great. And I'm going to go to it in just a minute as well. We have dozens of programming kits that can be used to supplement programming for all ages, all age groups, including adults, and in the classroom environment, all grade levels. So the photos that I have up here are of some of our newest kits, a mechanical gaming kit, a fibercraft kit, which came as an expression of interest from some of our public libraries that wanted to run like knitting circles or knitting instruction and crochet, and then a electronics teardown kit. So for this would be, I think, really incredible for school science projects. So all the things that you would need to tear apart old electronics so that kids can learn about the inner workings of it. So you can see the pliers and the safety goggles, and I feel like there might be some soldering in there, knives, etc., so that children can learn a little bit about the inner workings of machines that are no longer in use. I'm actually going to open up the link that Laura has popped into the chat because I want to spend, a little bit more time talking about the kits. So just bear with me here as there we go. The link that she's provided to you is to the collection and resource sharing. And then here is the section on kits. So we have a series of Indigenous collection kits. So if you're looking to enhance your Indigenous materials for any certain occasion, you're welcome to borrow those. The Makerspace kits are ones that we have worked on quite a bit over the COVID period to create programming kits for programs that can be done at a distance or even passively. So passive programming, meaning you're setting up the equipment in your library and students can just kind of come and go and interact with it and learn. So button making kits, circuitry kits, the electronics teardown that I talked to you about. I think Laura, we need to pop some pictures in here, on here, right? Because the descriptions don't really do it justice. So some maker kits and make do kits. So these are all things that can sometimes be costly for libraries or school libraries to purchase, or they want to see how children react to them before they purchase them. So you're welcome to borrow those. On this page as well are all of the instructions for how to borrow these kits as well. So we would, of course, sign it out to your school's library card, and we would arrange a delivery and a pickup just as we would for any other item. So we do want to let you know what there is. And Danica, I see, how long can you borrow a kit? The kit times, I feel like we have, Jen, do you have an answer to that? How long can you borrow a kit? It's changed recently, so I just don't know off the top of my head.
I feel like it's 3 weeks, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
No, that's okay.
Jen.
Yeah, and Jen's here. I haven't enabled her mic. Sorry, so she'd have to pop it in the chat. And then Danica, you also asked is there a cost for consumables? So if it's included in the kit and there's consumables, no, we will replenish it. But in many instances, you might want more consumables, or you might want more, something a little bit different. And so we make note in the kit description where you would need to purchase more things. So I could imagine with the Fibercraft kit, you probably would want to pick up a few more balls of yarn or get some knitting ladies from your community to donate some yarn so that you could run a knitting program, for example. The button making kit comes with 150 pins, but you would need to buy more if you needed more than that. And it's so popular that yeah, some libraries do that. If you were to do the electronics teardown kit, it doesn't come with the electronics. You would need to seek donations from your school or your community to get old VCRs or DVD players or computers or whatever it is that you wanted the kids to break down. So hopefully that answers your question.
Can I just add one thing?
Of course. Jessica? Yeah.
Regarding booking any of the kits, if there was something that you were planning months in advance, so maybe it was like holiday related or something like that, you could always just email us and let us know that you would like to book a particular kit, and maybe it's not until January, and we'll make sure that we get you booked in the calendar for that. So it's already set away for you for that period of time.
They're pretty popular. The link that I didn't go into is the Storytime kits. And so for those of you who are in elementary schools, if you wanted some themed kits that include storybooks as well as props for storytelling, usually puppets, but sometimes other things, we have dozens of themed Storytime kits that you can book as well. So definitely check that out if you want something fun to just put on in your school library for students to use, or you want your teachers to have access to them. So the next biggie on my list is e-resources that are available to you either through your public library or through YRL directly to schools. And so there's another link here that Laura's going to put up. This is actually a link to the Barrhead Public Library. And I chose Barrhead because Elaine was signed up to come to the session today. So I was like, okay, I'll choose Barrhead, Elaine, the manager there. And I need access to a public library site so I can show you some of these resources. But before we hop in, e-resources, for those of you who have been around, you've probably heard that the government did pull funding for the online resource center, which would have been available to schools through their school libraries. And it has been available for probably over a decade or more, hey, Laura? And that would have been access to high quality, vetted, age appropriate resources for reference and research purposes. So access to online encyclopedias, access to online research materials, etc. So schools we know are scrambling a little bit to find access to online resources. So I want to show you a couple of options today for you in lieu of the online resource center. I think what I'll do is I'm going to hop off of this slide here, and I'm going to go into the link that Laura has put into the chat. You're welcome to come along with me. If you are like, for example, in Swan Hills, you can head to the Swan Hills Public Library website or whatever public library website is closest to you, because the page that I'm going to show you is going to be the same. The page that I'm showing you on the Barrhead Public Library website is generated by Yellowhead Regional Library. And this is all of the e-resources that we offer to our public patrons. We've been finding it a little bit slow here, so just bear with me as it's loading. The catch here is that you and your students and teachers would need a public library card in order to access these resources. And so this is actually a really good opportunity for partnerships between you and your school in your town, which I know there's lots of all throughout Yellowhead, to make sure that you're getting library cards into the hands of students so that they can access this. So this is an opportunity to reach out to the manager of your local library to say, hey, I need my students to have access to this. How are we going to get cards in their hands? And there's ways to set up programs, pretty easy ways to set up programs to have, get parental consent and get those library cards. Once the students have library cards, and you as well, and teachers as well, these are the lists of resources that are available through the public library. So I basically I linked right to the e-resources page. I'm going to back up here. Just go to the Barrhead Public Library main page. So it would be the same, same path no matter which YRL library you went to. All of the websites have a similar look and feel. So from the main page, you would just want to hit the e-resources tab. And your list will come up here. So there's a few that I want to point out. There's dozens on here, many that would be appropriate for a school setting. So I encourage you to get to know this list and promote it to your teachers. The ones that I want to point out to you today there's one called Solero. I'm just going to hop down to it. And this is Alberta specific homework help, a hugely popular database that offers just some extra support for students with a focus on the Alberta curriculum. If I were to click on it now, it's going to ask me for my library card number and my PIN number. And that's the authentication that's required to get access to it, and what your students, their parents, and the teachers will need to get access to a database like this. The other one I want to show you is one that I think would be phenomenal for you as school librarians, and it's called Novelist. So one of the big challenges of working in a library is the question of, oh, can you recommend a good book? And I don't know about you, but that question gets me shaken in my boots, because what I like might not be what others like, for one thing. And I'm a I'm not embarrassed to say this. I'm just going to say it. I don't read a lot of fiction. Like, I just don't. I read nonfiction. I read long form articles. I don't know the YA genre very well, but I do know that if I was working in a public library, I would need to know how to recommend those materials. And so there's a database called Novelist.
I'm not sure why it's not coming up.
Yeah, it's been
We're having
really, really slow. That's
slow
okay.
today, yeah.
We'll get to it.
Oh, there it is.
Sela.
Okay, come on.
It's on page 3.
Hopefully not on 4. Oh,
Novelist.
there you go.
Yeah, here we go. Okay. This is what we call a reader's advisory service. And it is a cheat sheet for library staff to be able to type in maybe a name of a book that a patron likes already, and it will suggest additional books, or you can type in certain genres, topics, age categories, and it will spit back a list of recommended books. So this is great for you for 2 reasons. One, you can look like the smartest person in the room every single time by recommending the perfect book to read. But it can also help with collection development. If you know, oh my gosh, all of my students are like super duper into horror. I need to beef up my horror collection. You can hop into Novelist, choose some, choose the genre of horror, maybe limit it to the appropriate ages, and it will spit back a list of titles that might be popular that you can then use to purchase from. You can request and purchase those books. So I don't know about you, but my Facebook algorithms have been showing me ads to a similar database called Likewise. I think it's an app now that you can actually purchase an app subscription to. Novelist is the exact same idea, but you can access it free through Yellowhead Regional Library. So I do want to point that out. There's 2 versions of it, one for K-8 and one for high school and adult age. So definitely worth looking at. Hoopla is another one that's really definitely worth looking at because that is the best access to a wide range of, bear with me here as I scroll through, a wide range of movies for students to watch, magazines. So if you've got students who, if you had been managing a magazine collection and you're just like, I don't want to deal with all these subscriptions anymore, you can show your students Hoopla because they can read magazines on their tablets or their iPads. I know internet's not always easily accessible in rural areas, and it might not always be the best solution, but it is an e-solution for access to ebooks, audiobooks, movies, and magazines. And then finally, I wanted to show you some e-resources that YRL has just purchased and only for our school libraries. I'm so excited to tell you guys about this. You may have received the announcement. The announcements went out initially to the superintendents of your school divisions, and we're hoping it has trickled down to you already. In fact, if you've heard about it, let us know in the chat, because I'm really curious. We ourselves haven't done our great big blast and promo out directly to our school library staff. But if you've heard about it from your superintendent, awesome. We have purchased access to some Gale, which is a brand name of databases. Gale, it's 3 databases called Galen Context, one for elementary students, one for middle school students, and one for high school students. Laura is just going to pop the URLs for these 3, for brochures for these 3 products in the chat here. And if you could just bear with me, I'm going to bring it up here. So these are Galen Context is an all-in-one resource that provides accurate, vetted information at an age-appropriate level. So it's an encyclopedic type resource, it's a research database type resource, but it also includes audio clips, visual clips, movie clips that students can use as part of their projects. The 3 are there because each one is going to be a little bit different depending on the age group that it's serving. Access is going to be done through your school's IP address, and our collection and resource management folks have already been in touch with the tech people from all of your school divisions to make sure that you'll get it. I just got to check my notes. the day, like your access is going to be coming very soon. The week of October 4th. Oh, this week, Laura. I was just looking at the week of October 4th to 8th. You should be getting an email with information about how to access this. What Laura's popped into the chat is a printable PDF document that you can print off and use to promote to the teachers so that they can access these resources as options for research. For their students. We know it's not a full replacement for the online reference center. That was a huge, irreplaceable resource, but this was something that we were able to afford and offer to our students, to our schools, and our students very quickly and easily. So really hope that you make use of it. If for some reason your school division says, hey, school libraries, we know that ORC is gone, and we've got a little bit of money to purchase some more e-resources, what do you recommend? Give us a shout, because we do have recommendations for additional resources that that might be appropriate for your schools. And we can also connect you to folks from the Alberta Library. The Alberta Library is a consortium that runs out of Edmonton that they offer a variety of different services to all kinds of libraries in Alberta. But one of them is bulk licensing of resources, and they can get really good deals to purchase subscriptions to database resources. And I'm looking at this page here that I've brought up. Of course, there's links to the Galen Context elementary, middle, and high school, but there's a few in here I remember from my academic library days that are phenomenal. For example, the Galen Context Opposing Viewpoints is such a great database for high school students who are having debates. It all comes with a cost, right? So if you're ever asked, what should we purchase? Talk to us. We can make recommendations and connect you with folks who can negotiate on your behalf to get access to these resources. So in the meantime, you've got access to, or will fairly shortly have access to, the elementary, middle, and high school databases, which are quite robust. We're really excited about it. Any questions about that at all before we move on? Or about the e-resources? No? Okay. No worries. And again, as you're getting to know these resources, give us a shout and we can support you with accessing them, using them, talking to your teachers and your principal in the school about them. So the next thing I want to touch on as a service for you are all of the workshops and training that we offer. So we do offer regular workshops. We try and get things out every month. We advertise them through our newsletter. This one is exclusively for our school library staff, but we offer workshops every month on hot topics. One that comes to mind for me that might be of interest to you is one that Jen is leading on. Is it in November, Jen? Maybe Jen, you can look up the date. Anyway, Jen has a really phenomenal background in genrifying libraries or de-genrifying them. So what that means is you may be working in a library where you have a horror section and a LGBTQ section and an Indigenous section. And so there's pros and cons to organizing a library in that regard, especially in the school context. And Jen will be offering a workshop on what that means. I'll let Jen pop the date into the chat here so that you can have a look at it. But we do offer information about, there we go, November 9th at 1:30. Information on how to sign up for these are in our weekly newsletter that comes out. If you're not receiving our weekly newsletter, that's on my list here to mention as well, give us a shout at Ask YRL and we'll make sure that you're subscribed because not only do we provide information about the workshops and webinars that are coming up, but also pertinent information related to libraries and COVID legislation and other programming and governance leadership resources that you might find useful as a school library staff member.
Well, Jessica, I'll just mention that all of our information for any workshops, webinars, sessions that we're doing are also available on the YRL website as
Okay.
well. And it's at the
Yeah.
bottom of the page, and you can see the description of it there and how to contact us for a link
Yeah.
for those
Yeah.
registrations.
Thank you, Laura. Absolutely. We are COVID permitting, more than happy to come out and provide workshops to staff and to principals. So if, for example, you wanted to have us come and do a workshop on the ins and outs of some of these databases and how they can be used in the classroom and how you could work with the library, to your local public library, to partner with them to get schools, we would be happy to come out and do that. Right now, we're in Alberta on a work from home order, so our visits have stopped. Unfortunately, we're doing everything via Zoom in this way, which we'd be happy to do if you guys meet on Zoom. But just so that you know, we will come out and talk to your staff and provide workshops to them. We offer an annual conference with streams for school libraries. Our annual conference actually happened last week, the week before. We had over 1,000 folks from right across Canada and throughout North America. We run a stream for school libraries because the partners who plan the conference, all regional library systems, support school libraries. And so we want to make sure that there is enough learning content for our school library folks to learn from. Because it was an online virtual conference, all of the sessions were recorded. So I would invite you to go to the conference website. You can Google Stronger Together, or maybe Laura, if you could pop the link in the chat to go and see what's available, and you can view the recordings. The one that I would recommend that you watch was a session on Alberta School Library. I put their hashtag here. It was the Alberta School Library Technicians sort of help group or support group. It was such a phenomenal presentation with so many just instant, easy, practical tips that school library staff could use to engage readers, to engage teachers, to think about their collection developments in new ways. So lots of good info packed into 1 hour. I popped their hashtag onto my slide here because it's worth following them on their following that hashtag on Twitter and their other social media accounts, because this is where school librarians go to share information and ask questions of each other throughout Alberta. I had never heard about it before the presentation, and after checking it out, I see it's a very robust and helpful group. So when I asked them what piece of advice I should be giving you at today's presentation, they said, join this group and follow this hashtag. Get connected, because there's so many of you working in small towns throughout all of Alberta who need a tribe, just as we all do when you're trying to do the very best for your students. So definitely worth connecting with this group as well. I think I've covered everything on this slide. The last one I want to talk about are our consulting services. And I've mentioned quite a little bit already about the types of things that we do. We are here and available for you on demand, like whenever, online. So we can meet one-on-one via Zoom, and we definitely do that a lot. Chat on the phone or over email to resolve quick questions, longer questions. We love coming in person, but again, like I said, we're not doing those in-person visits right now. We're doing our very best to resolve everything over Zoom. Our consulting services also include quite a lot of support with collection development and collection management. This is a big job for school librarians. I know many of you don't have a lot of time to work within your library. You don't have a lot of time to think about what you're going to do with a collection. And I know a lot of you are dealing with, dated collections that need some support. And so we can help you with providing purchasing lists. So suggestions of books on particular topics the topics that you would provide to us, so that you have a ready-made list customized for your school and your school's needs. We provide you with deselection support. Deselection is just a fancy word for weeding and pitching out all those old books. We love weeding. We love freshening up collections. And it can be a little bit scary and intimidating to deselect when you have, I'll guarantee in your school and in your community, you will have people who will be aghast that you are essentially throwing away books. And so we can provide you and your community with support on how to manage the political aspect of a weeding project, as well as the practical of, what to weed, how to weed, how to get it into the garbage so that people aren't rooting through your dumpster at night and, complaining about it on Twitter the next day. So all of that, those pieces around deselection are things that we can help you with. We can provide you with technology and space recommendations. Sometimes you might be going through a reno, or you can't afford a reno, but you think maybe if I just rearrange this space, it's going to be more welcoming and open to students. And if you need a second eye to look at it, we can support you with that. And we also offer integrated library system support. And I say limited. It's limited by, I guess, our own knowledge. So in schools, you're likely using a product called Follett or Destiny to I guess manage the files of your collection. So all of your item records and your circulation and your reporting on all of the materials in your library are done through an integrated library system called Follett or Destiny. If there's any other brands that you guys are using, pop them into the chat. The one that we use through YRL with our public libraries is called Polaris. We know Polaris. I think between the group of us, I think it's fair to say we know Polaris inside and out and can answer most questions. It's not always the same with with the school library systems because we don't work with them as frequently. L for you. Okay, thanks, Alicia. That's really good to know. But you learn one system, the same principles apply to many. And so, we do our best to try and, watch videos or read tutorials about the systems. Oh, no way. Sorry, I'm just reading the comment, Danica. That's really interesting. This is good. Okay, this is really good info for us to have.
Yes.
Because we like to have reports if we're helping you with weeding, and we need to figure out how to do that. So anyway, we do our best to learn the minimum we need to know in order to help you get the data that you need about your collections to make good decisions. I'll give you an example of this. Recently, I was at the Pigeon Lake School. They haven't had a good and proper weed in 10 years. And when I walked into that library a few weeks ago, I could tell they hadn't had a good weed. And so they used Follett. I had never been in Follett before that day, but I felt pretty confident and like, okay, I know what integrated library systems do. So I was able to get into Follett, and we pulled reports very quickly that told us what wasn't circulating, the age of the collection. And I was able to make recommendations and create a list of what they needed to pull just based on, the work that I was able to do when they sat me down at a computer for an hour and got it done. So they have a start of a weeding project going there now because we were able to pull those reports from Follett and get them going on it. So a few other examples of consulting besides just weeding that we have done. This was at Wetaskiwin Comp. There was is that right? This was a couple of years ago now. Lena, one of our former librarians who's on a mat leave right now, worked on a genreification project there. The library staff member noticed that there were specific genres that the students were interested in, and they started organizing the collection by those genres. And they were able to increase the circulation turnover by quite a bit just by rearranging the collection in a way that was meaningful to those students specifically. Hilltop Junior and Senior School needed some high-low readers, so high interest, low vocabulary readers for their high school students. And so we were able to pull together a list of recommended purchases for them. Another really big project that's still all ongoing is with the Pembina School Division. This is a project done directly with the teachers to deliver high interest novels to grade 8 students. So it was geared specifically for a grade to get in more materials than the schools could afford for grade 8 students to read. And it's proven so popular that we're picking it up again after a year's break due to COVID. The principals of the schools in that division were super keen to hop on it. So really great project. Anyway, so we've been out to do space consults. We've been out to recommend furniture purchases. I think, we're your colleagues. is what I like to say. We're your colleagues. When you have none at your school, we are your library colleagues, and we can support you and help you, be the person that you bounce ideas off of. I know another example that I wanted to use, and this was a Parkdale school, and this was just recently. Christina is not here, so I don't think she'll mind that I'm using this as an example. She started in that library, and they were using a classification system that was sort of homegrown. It had worked for them for a while until it no longer worked. And we needed to figure out a way to change that homegrown classification system over to Dewey in a very short amount of time. And so we worked with her, and really, Laura, I would say that it was her that came up with the process, as she bounced ideas off of her until a good process was hammered out. And over the course of the summer, every single one of those titles in that nonfiction collection were converted over to Dewey, reshelved, we've got now templates put in place so that all of the materials that they know that they purchase going forward is going to be appropriately cataloged with appropriate spine label with the appropriate Dewey number so that they can shelve those items accordingly. So you name it, we are going to do our best to make it work for you. The one thing that we can't do is we don't help with moves. We get that request sometimes, and I wish we could, because it's kind of fun to go in and clean out libraries in preparation for moves. We won't do the physical moves because we don't have the staffing for it, but we will consult before and after on space. Sometimes leads have to come along with moves. So lots of the before and after in preparation for a move, but not the physical move itself. So that is just a taste of the consulting services, but consulting is whatever you need, I would say. And that actually ends my spiel for today. You guys all stuck with me. Thank you so much. I am just so pleased to see new names, and I can't wait to see your faces in person as well. We're really anxious to get traveling to these libraries and come and visit you for whatever time you're able to give to us so that we can get to know you in person. And get to know your collections as well. So tomorrow, if you are up for it, is a whole new topic on, and that is how to pick, purchase, and get those books on your shelf.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Are there any questions from the group? I know there was lots of really good ones throughout. So
yes.
No worries. If there's no more questions, you know how to find us. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. And if not, that's okay. It's recorded and we're available to answer questions as needed. So thank you all very, very much for coming. And we may see you tomorrow.
Absolutely. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Laura.
Bye.
There we go.
Hello.
Is it just you and me now?
I think.
And Jen. So. Let's just stay on. Jen, I'm gonna bump you up here.
Okay. That was really good. Sorry, I jumped in a
couple
of times, but I just know sometimes there's like things where I'm thinking, I know I get asked this regularly. Maybe I should.
There's Jen.
There she is. I can see the top of her head.
I should have I should have bumped you up at the beginning. I don't know why I didn't. Sorry, Jen.
That's fine.
Oh, she was busy running back and forth. Holy.
Why?
No, I was just doing stuff because I would think of something that I remembered I needed to do.
Oh.
So I would like go and do that and come back, or like I was doing stuff on the computer.
I definitely have to do that all the time. If I don't do it right at that moment, it's gone. Did I just see an email for work in pajamas day at Wire?
Yeah.
What? Oh my God, they did it. I told them. Okay. Okay.
So everybody work here on the 27th so we can see your pajamas.
I have said to Carla, I don't know how many times.
You want to see them?
Please have a work in pajamas.
I'm wearing mine.
I actually have street clothes on from top to bottom. It's a miracle. Oh, gosh.
So Jen, do you think you even learned anything new there? That's good.
I think because you've told me all about it.
Yeah. Okay.
That's probably
That's
why
good though. It makes me feel good because, you've got a fairly good grounding in the services that we offer. It was pretty basic today. you
Well,
know,
it
a
also
pretty,
means that you've
yeah.
hit all the bases, which is
Yeah.
good. Like there was
Mhm.
nothing that she thought, hey, what about blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah, you know, that you
Yeah.
covered it. So
Yeah.
good. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
so that's good. I was hoping to hear that there was nothing new for you.
And
So
I'm
that's really good.
really glad that you asked about their ILS that they're working on, because I really thought that they were all on Follett.
Me too.
And I didn't know anything about L4U, or what was the other one? Insignialis. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's all good.
Okay.
So anyway, so that was part 1, Jen, for schools. And you know, when you think about onboarding a manager, there's a similar spiel. It's, you know, there's a lot more stuff. It's a lot longer, but there is a similar spiel that we would give for managers. Yeah. The big thing is creating a relationship, I think, so that they know to call us, that we're,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think
So,
that they're always really shocked. Like, even though we can give them all of this information, I think when it comes right down to it, when you're actually doing the work with them, or like they will sometimes take a chance and ask a question thinking, oh, they're going to say no, but then we say yes. I can't tell you how many times I've experienced this where they're like, really?
yeah.
You can help me with this? Or like, they're just so blown away for any kind of help or support that we can give them. And then sometimes they'll go, well, how much is this going to cost? And it's like, it's already
Yeah.
paid for. It's like,
Which-
you're good.
Which makes me sick, because like they pay as much as the public libraries. Like it's all as much. The big piece is the integrated library system that they don't have, right? But they pay a lot of money to be members. And
Yeah, and sometimes they're just not using the services at all.
Yeah.
Like there's so many of the schools that we never really hear anything from at all.
Yeah.
And then they're not even spending out their allotment. So you
Yeah.
wonder if they're really out of the loop, like their library staff just doesn't know. That's why I wish
Yeah.
there would be even higher attendance for these, because you know, I feel like that's got to be the case. Why some of these are not using it, because they just don't know.
Yeah.
And they've been there for years.
You know, at Northern Lights, they went after the new director started 6 months ago. They also hired around the same time a new, I can't remember her title, but similar to my title, manager of whatever their department is. And they reached out and did a one-on-one appointment with every single, they don't have school libraries, I don't think, but every single library in their system to make sure that they were touching base with them. We haven't gone that route. I don't know that we will. I don't know how much more business we want to drum up for ourselves. But I would say the same of our public libraries. There's a few that we never hear from.
That's true. Very true.
Rich Valley, Fawcett, Jarvie, although they have
totally.
Lisa, but yeah.
Fawcett's not really a library.
I was going to say they also have a director, so that's not a great example. But there's a few libraries that it's just, you don't
That's
hear
true.
boo from them. Where?
That's true.
Yeah. So
yeah, like I'm trying to think of one right now. What did I do with my list? I printed one out. I don't know what I did with it. But yeah, there's always a few that are like ghosts.
Yeah. So I think what we need to do is like for this session, it will be the same. You'll want to list the school division that each person is from on our list, because we need to be documenting all the interactions we have with these schools. Because if every once in a while a new superintendent comes and they're like, what are we paying this big bill to Yellowhead for? And you know, we want to be able to demonstrate this, you know, that we've been offering services to those schools. So
For sure.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks for coming, you guys. And we'll see you. So I'm still on until 3, and then I'm off at 3, and then I'm back at it again tomorrow at 8:30.
Right on.
All righty. Okay.
All right.
You guys have a great rest of the day.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Bye.